What's up guys, and welcome back to Software and Audio Solutions, and today we're talking about Call of Duty Warzone 2 and its latest updates. Now, I've had personal emails being sent to me, Discord messages, just in general, a fuck ton of people asking me, yo dude, when are you doing a full FPS boost guide? Now, I wanted to do one for Season 2, but Call of Duty has done a couple of updates recently and they've changed things. And I need to go over this and show you this. So open up your file explorer, go to documents, go to Call of Duty, go to players, go to this config file over here. That's options.3.cod22 and then scroll all the way down to the bottom to where it says render a work account. Now, you need to half your cores inside here. I think Call of Duty has realized that we are trying our best to change it from like total cores to half the cores, then it's not even half the cores, then it's like a core higher than half. It's just all fucked up at this very moment. But right now, at this very moment, and I think they're going to keep it like this, is halving your total cores. Yes, I know that they're fucking us around by either putting our total cores there, half our cores, then it's maybe one core higher, or whatever. It's just really fucked up. But right now, with an update, I have tested this myself. I jumped in a couple of games. So please, for the love of fuck, leave a like on this video, because it takes a lot of time and dedication to actually find out if these things work and what they're gonna do with the new update for Call of Duty Season 2. So right now at this very moment, it is half your cores. Please go ahead and half your cores here. So if you have 8 cores, you put 4 there. If you have 12 cores, you put 6 there. You get my point. Now, a lot of people has asked me, yo dude, I have a 4-core 8-thread CPU. Do I put 2 there? Now, I can't tell you if you should put 2 there, because I haven't had a CPU like that in a very long time. I haven't worked on one of those in a very long time. But you can try by just basically putting 2 here if you have a 4-core machine. If you see that you do less FPS in your game, if you see you do less, okay, then I recommend that you go ahead and put 4 there, your total cores. This is for people with 4-core machines, okay? Now, for people with 6-core machines are going to ask me, obviously, do I put 3 there? So I just want to get this out the way. If you put 3 there and you do better FPS, then leave it at 3. If you don't, leave it at 6. It's total cores. Now for me, when it gets higher, when the total cores become higher, so when it's 8 and above, all the way to 24, then you put half of those cores inside here, your total cores, okay? Not your performance cores, your total cores. Half your cores inside here, please go ahead and do that. This will help you increase FPS by a fuck ton if you haven't done this already. And if you have done this already and you're on your total cores, let's say you have total cores of 8, halving it by 4, or just half your total cores that you have currently right now at this very moment, you will do a significantly better FPS inside your game, and the game will run a little bit better. It will actually increase the performance inside your game just by changing this little thing in the config file. Now there's a lot of things that I'm going to be changing inside this config file that I'm going to show you guys for Season 2 that I have planned for Season 2. So make sure that you subscribe, because I will be making a Season 2 video. It's coming out the 15th, so I'll give it maybe like on the 16th or 17th, because I'm going to have to jump through the game itself and see what's going on with the game before I make a video, because I'm not going to just, like, immediately as the season comes out, I'm just going to make a video. How the fuck do I know what's going on in the game? I don't do that. I do research before I do these videos. So I would really appreciate it if you leave a like. Honestly, I would appreciate it. So, total cores, not anymore thing. You're going to half your cores inside here. Now, like I said before, I think Call of Duty is going to keep it like this. It's going to stay half your cores. Please go ahead and leave it to half your cores. Once you're done with that, you're just going to click on here, and then click on save, and then close out of this. And then close out of this as well. Now, something that's very, very important that a lot of people miss out on is this over here, and this is why they're asking me to do a full FPS boost guide. If you are an Nvidia user like me, open up an Nvidia control panel on your desktop, and then when the video control panel opens like this, you're just going to go to adjust image settings with preview and go to use the advanced 3D image settings, and then click on take me there. It's basically just going to take you to manage 3D settings. Now, in my comment sections, in my emails, in my messages, everyone asks me, why don't I put Call of Duty inside here and then change the settings like this? Why don't I ever do this? Why? At this very moment in 2023, these are the best settings you can use in global settings for every single game you are playing right now at this very moment. So you can pause the video if you want to and copy my exact settings. Please go ahead and put this to 100 gigs. Please go ahead and do that, because it actually does help with Call of Duty. It helps with other games as well. I actually found out that it actually helps for PUBG as well, and it also helps with GTA 5. So this does help a lot. Now, all of these things help to make your other games run better as well, not just Warzone 2. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and copy all of my settings I have over here. Just pause the video, copy it, paste it in, and then say apply. Your screen might flash a few times. Don't worry, it's just going to apply the settings. And then you can come back into my video and leave a comment and tell me that your COD's better, and maybe go jump into a different game and feel how your game feels. Come leave a comment, come back to my video and be like, it actually feels better by playing other games with these specific settings in the global settings. I highly recommend you go ahead and do that. Once you're done with that, you go to config, surround, and physics. So this one over here. Then you're going to go over here and do not select auto select, do not select CPU. The only time you would select CPU is if you have an APU unit, meaning you have a CPU with a built-in graphics card. You do not have a dedicated graphics card like what most of the community. If you're one of those people, then put it on CPU. If you have a dedicated graphics card like 95% of the gaming community, select your dedicated GPU over here and then say apply, and it will do this over here and it will say applying changes. Once you're done with that, I highly recommend you go to adjust desktop color settings. Now, this plays a very big role with the color inside the game and how the game looks. You saw my thumbnail that the right side always looks better than the left side. Now, I'm making an example in my thumbnail of how to make your game look better, feel better, and also just smooth gameplay experience, better FPS and everything. So, this over here, I highly recommend that you go ahead and copy these three exactly as is. They are the sweetest spot. These three are the sweetest spot you can put it on. With a monitor, with a laptop display, with a screen, TV, I don't care if you're playing this on a Samsung fridge. This will be the best ones that you can use. Go ahead and select these, okay? Digital vibrance is your own personal preference. I do leave mine at 90 because I feel that the game pops way more inside the game, like while I'm playing. I leave mine at 90. It's my sweet spot, but you can go ahead and play around with this over here, like change it around. You'll see that it becomes black and white, and then as you push it up, the digital vibrance becomes a little bit better. So I have mine at 90, and this is the best settings I have right now for Nvidia control panels settings. I highly recommend that you go ahead and apply these settings. So go ahead and apply these settings. Once you apply these settings, what I'm going to do is this over here is actually also show you something that is very, very important that people don't realize that they should do before they even jump into Call of Duty. Is this over here. You press the Windows key and R and you bring up the run tab like this, okay? So there's already a prefetch in there. So I'm just going to delete that because that's one of the things that you're going to need to do as well. So the first one you're going to do is temp. Just like this, you type in temp and then enter. You're going to click on anything inside here, Control and A, it will highlight everything, delete on your keyboard, do this for all kind of items, and say continue. Then you're just going to say cancel, because Windows is currently using this file, so you can't delete it. Okay? Then you're going to do the exact same thing again. Windows key and R to bring up the run tab. Now you're just going to put a percentage symbol at the end, and put a percentage symbol in the beginning. So just like this, and press enter. Click on anything inside here, so Control A, highlight everything, delete, and then let it delete it like this, and there we go. It actually deleted everything inside my temporary files, so it's gone now. Now you're going to do this again. There's another way of doing this. You can just type in run in the search tab like this, and then you can do it like this as well for if some reason your Windows key and R does not the fuck work. Because I've had people ask me like, yo dude, my key, it doesn't work. How is another way of doing this? That's another way of doing it. Awesome. Prefetch. It will be the next one. You're going to press enter on prefetch, and you're going to come inside here, press Control and A, and then delete everything inside here. Go ahead and do that. As you can see, Windows is currently using that file, so I can't delete it. Now, once you're done with that, I have to move my OBS quickly. Just bear with me. You're going to empty your recycling bin and then say yes. Now, there's a bunch of trash that you're going to delete now. Now, I do this on a regular basis. As you could see, that was about 400 megs. If you don't do this on a regular basis, that will be in the gigs. It could be really, really big. And it's just temporary files that your machine doesn't need at all. It's just temporary files. You need to clean your machine. It's like cleaning your cache of your RAM and cleaning your cache of your Windows and stuff like that. So it's very, very important to go ahead and do that. Alright, so the next step I highly recommend you go ahead and do is go to the search button over here and type in settings, or just go to start and go to settings over here and then go to update and security. Make sure that your Windows is up to date. It doesn't matter if you are running Windows 10 or 11. Like I said, I don't care if you're playing this on a fucking calculator. Update your shit. Update your calculator then. Please, go ahead and update your shit. You can't expect your game to run smoothly if you don't update your stuff, okay? Like as you see this over here, it's asking me to download this, right? So I will do this after my video. Otherwise, you're going to watch me download and install this. So I'm not going to do that right now. A very, very important thing to do inside your computer is the background apps. So you're going to go back here, go back to settings, and you're going to go to privacy, scroll all the way down to where you see background apps. Now for people that's running Windows 10, you are the lucky people, because all you need to do is literally just go from like this to that. And what it will do is it will actually not let these things run in the background and use your resources like your RAM and your CPU, and it could also use your GPU's usage. So when you go into Warzone, you actually look at the bottom of your screen of your VRAM that applications are using VRAM. That's these. That's literally these over here that you are running in the background. There's way more in-depth ones to go ahead and do, but I'm not going to do that through PowerShell because you can break your machine by doing that. So I don't want you guys to fiddle around with that and then break your machine. I don't want to brick your machine either. Anyways, if you're on Windows 11, it's more difficult to turn these things off because you have to turn them off individually, one by one. That's just a thing. Unfortunately, that's just a thing. You have to individually turn them off one by one. Unfortunately for the people that's using Windows 11. And yeah, I'm on Windows 10. Fuck you. I don't give a fuck about Windows 11, to be honest with you right now. Right, so something I do want to point out is this over here, Open Hardware Monitor and MSI Afterburner. If you don't have these two programs, I'll leave a link in the description down below. Please go ahead and download these two things. It will help you a lot, especially with Warzone. So Open Hardware Monitor, you can actually monitor your temperatures. You can monitor a lot of things with this program, and it's free to use. So for instance, if you have a water cooling loop, you can self-control it, and you can also control your case fans. Then you can also use MSI Afterburner to basically do your own fan curve and your fan speeds, and then you always have your temp limit at 87. This is for thermal throttling. If you don't know what thermal throttling is basically if your GPU hits a certain temperature without you using this program, and you don't use this at all, you don't have it installed on your machine. Thermal throttling, what it does is if your machine does a certain temperature, let's say your GPU hits, I don't know, like 80 degrees. Let's just say it hits 80 degrees. You start thermal throttling and you start losing frames because of the temperature of your GPU. So this is why I have this at 87. My GPU will never hit 87 while being in game. It will normally be in the 70s there around, depending if I do overclocking or not. I do overclocking. I'll make a separate video for this, maybe for season 2. If you guys would like to see that, leave a like, because I will do a slight short video on how to do an overclocking and how to do a stable overclocking on your GPU, because you can get more frames out of overclocking your GPU. And very, very important is 528.49 is the latest driver for your graphics card right now. Please go ahead and download the latest driver for your GPU. Please go ahead and do that. You need to keep up to date. So let's jump into COD. Let me show you the best settings you can use right now at this very moment with its latest updates and everything before Season 2 drops. Let's jump straight into it. Right, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, I'm in my game right now, so the first thing you're going to need to do is go to this little guy icon over here, and then go to Graphics, and then go to Quality tab. Alright, this is very, very important. A lot of people use this as custom, or a lot of people will use Basic, Balanced, or Ultra. Now, I do not recommend minimum, because what it's going to do is it's going to downscale your resolution. As you can see there on the left, it actually downscales your resolution by a lot. If your machine is really, really incapable of playing this game properly, and you use minimum, and you're one of those people that actually uses this, then go ahead and use that. It's your own personal preference. Really, it is your own personal preference on what you're going to use inside here. Lots of people don't even tweak any of these. They just use either basic, balanced, or ultra. Most people will be doing balanced or basic. 95% of people would be using either basic or balanced, not ultra. Alright, so you can go ahead and choose one of these, but I do recommend doing it customly and basically customize it yourself. Alright, so let's go over this and just let me show you the best settings you can use right now. Okay, so 100% on the render resolution. It doesn't matter what screen you are running. It can be a laptop screen, gaming screen, TV. Like I said, you could be playing this on your Samsung microwave. I don't give a fuck. Put it at the resolution what it's supposed to be at. So if you're playing at 720p, put it at 100, which will be 720p. 1080p, 1440p, 2K, 4K, whatever the fuck you're playing your resolution at, leave it at 100%. You want your game to look like this, not like that. 100% always. Upscaling is a very big thing inside this game, and lots of people don't know which to use. They literally don't know which one to use here. Alright, so number one, this one. Never in COD's history would you want to use this, because it's the worst upscaling of every single upscaling I've ever seen in my entire life on AMD machines. Basically Ryzen CPUs, AMD graphics cards, or Intel CPUs and Nvidia graphics cards. This is the worst thing you can be using. So people are going to either use Nvidia DLSS. Lots of people prefer Nvidia DLSS. If you do prefer Nvidia DLSS, go here and put this on balanced or performance. Do not put this on ultra performance. Your game's going to look like dog shit. Don't do that. Unless you really want the performance and you're a performance hogger and you just want to see the best frames, you don't care about how your game looks, then you put this on ultra performance. But if you care about how your game looks and the performance, you go between balanced and performance. Okay, I would recommend balance, because it will balance out your performance and your gameplay all at the same time. Lots of people do prefer Nvidia DLSS, and if you do, go with balance. Don't go with quality, and don't go with ultra performance. If you really need to, then go with ultra performance. Right? Then a lot of people do use Nvidia DLAA. If you are using this, I do recommend that you play around with the sharpness here if you do use this, because every single person out there has their own personal sweet spot on the sharpness of their upscaling, because every single person has their own favorite upscaling and sharpness inside the game. Then again, a lot of people are using NVIDIA image scaling, and they're using this at native. Okay, you can also put this on ultra quality. I do not recommend it though. You can try ultra quality or balance. It's your own personal preference. But if you put this at native like this, you're going to run your game at that resolution that you are currently running. Native, and then put this at 10. But yet again, I can't tell you what to do inside here, because this is the sharpness of native and NVIDIA image scaling. My personal sweet spot, if I use this, will be 10. Okay, so this is your own personal preference. Okay, AMD FSR, a lot of people are using this right now, and I highly recommend that you do, because it gives you the best performance inside the game. And then you need to use either ultra quality if your machine can handle it. If it can't, go with quality, because performance, your game looks like fucking dog water. Please don't put this on performance. Just don't. If you really want to get really good FPS, okay, like really good FPS, instead of doing AMD FSR and putting this on performance, rather than do this, go to Fidelity FX Cache. This is the most common used upscaling and sharpness inside the game to get really good FPS and really good performance inside your game. It's the most used upscaling and sharpening inside this game. Literally, it's the most used. Okay, so if you're one of the people that is using Fidelity FX Cache, 60 for me is my own personal sweet spot, and I always left it there ever since this game came out. I've never changed it, and it will always probably stay here, depending on how they change this game, but they won't change the quality of this game at all. So this will stay at 60 for a fucking lifetime. Anyways, I do recommend then going with Fidelity FX Cache. Now, a lot of people don't use upscaling again, and they go with completely off. If you do have this off completely, what it's going to do is your game's going to run of it at its native resolution, okay? And everything you have inside here is going to run natively. So whatever you put here, like your settings, you are using no upscaling now anymore. I don't recommend it. But if you are one of the people that run this off, you don't use it at all, then I highly recommend that you go ahead and put this on full make SMAA T2 times, high, boost your VRAM all the way to the max, go with normal, high, low, low. Okay, for now, this is for people that's not using any upscaling. Okay, for me, right now, this very moment, I'm using Fidelity FX Cache, 60%, or I use AMD FSR with ultra quality, okay? But then I do this again. Full make SMA, always like this. I don't recommend this. It's like this very weird looking vibe when you look at a wall. It just looks weird. Don't use this. Please don't. If you really need to select this, because you're losing frames, then you can go ahead and do that. I'll understand that, okay? But I do recommend filmic SMA two times. You go with high here with anti-aliasing. You don't need to go all the way to ultra quality because it's basically just the quality of this over here. It's the quality of that. Okay, 90% on your VRAM, you're going to change that to normal, leave this to normal. Between low right now at this very moment and normal, there is no physical difference that much. It's very hard to notice, but if you play this game long enough and you play it as much as I do, yeah, you can see the difference between low and normal. But it's very hard to actually see it. Trust me, if you don't play this game that much, you will not see the difference. Anyways, then I highly recommend you go with high. You go here with high, and you go here with high. This should be fine for you, depending on your GPU. Okay, so if you have anything between a RTX 2060 and upwards, go with normal, high, high, high. Then, clutter draw distance, short, particle quality, low. Right now, this very moment, I actually recommend putting this at high, because as you can see, the VRAM here it actually goes down when you put it at high than what you put it at low. So go with high here, and you should be good to go. Something I want to point out is the background apps that I showed you in the Windows. This here, lots of people have left me comments saying, yo dude, I'm getting like 1,000 megabytes. That means 1 gig. If you didn't know that. Anyways, I'm getting 1,000 megabytes here, or 1,000, or 2,000. That means your background apps that you have installed on your machine is eating 1 gig of VRAM in the background. So this plays a very big role, that Windows setting that I showed you, basically to turn off your background apps. Look how much I'm eating, 515. So if you're eating anything more than this, like, I don't know, a gig or almost a gig, please go ahead and turn your background apps off. You really need to go fucking do that, because it plays a very big role in this game as well. Okay. Cool. Bullet impacts and sprays you can put on. It has no FPS impact in the game at all whatsoever. We wouldn't know until Season 2 comes out, but right now, on. Damage layers, you can put this on. It has no impact on FPS whatsoever in the game. Shader quality, you're going to go with low. There's no difference between low, medium, and high. Your character model, your gun skin, whatever the fuck you care about looking at your gun skin or your character model or whatever, there's no physical difference between low and high. There's no difference, so put it at low. Okay, that's why people are choosing low right now as a recommendation. Tessellation, always off. Terrain memory is a glitch in the game. If you have a selection and yours is maybe on max or minimum, I do recommend that you put yours on minimum, but most likely when you restart your game, that's going to be gone. There's a glitch in this game, and yeah, that's how beautiful and fucked up this game is, that it has glitches in its own quality settings. That's great. Anyways, on-demand text streaming, always off. You do not need this. I'm not going to go over this because it's very in-depth on if you turn this on. Trust me, very in-depth. Streaming quality always at low. Volumetric quality, I normally put this at medium for my machine, and it runs perfectly fine with my 9700K and my RTX 2060 OC and my 60 gigs of RAM. Okay, I have this at medium, but I do recommend that you go ahead and put this at low. I do recommend it, but if your machine can handle the medium, go with medium. Go with it. It actually does help you see things better in the game, and it will just feel for you better when you play the game. Alright? Physics quality, I have this at low. You do not need to change this up. Honestly, if you start changing this up, the game starts feeling like it's stuttering, and you don't want that. Okay? Water, trust me, you do not want to turn this on, because water is just an FPS hogger in this game. And when you turn this on or off, go stand next to water and test it out. Turn this on while standing next to water, and then turn it off. Okay? The water looks exactly the same, but you're just losing more frames by having this on. Okay? So leave it off. The shadow and lighting plays the biggest role in this game for stupid reasons, okay? And I will not lie to you. Shadow map resolution, very low. Screen space shadows, low. Spot shadow quality, I have mine at medium. Right now, I recommend you go ahead and change this from low to medium. It actually gives you a better gameplay experience. I know there's people going to be like, but mine's on low. Go to medium. It actually gives you a little bit of a, just in general, increase in your game's performance. I don't know why this is a thing, but leave this at medium. Spot cache, you're not going to need to put this on ultra. You can put this on high or ultra. It's your own personal preference, which one works best for you, because this can help you with, it helps with stuttering, okay? So you go with high or ultra. I go with ultra right now, and I'm not getting any stuttering in my game whatsoever. If yours gives stuttering while being on ultra, try high, okay? If it gives you stuttering on high, try ultra. One of these things are going to work perfectly fine for your machine. Not everyone has the exact same machine or GPU or whatever the case might be, so you're going to choose one here, your own personal preference between these two over here. Particle lighting, always at low. Ambient occlusion, never on in a multiplayer game, neither in a fucking battle royale. This you put on if you're playing a single player game. If you're playing campaign mode for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, you can go ahead and turn these things on. But if it's a multiplayer game and you're only playing Warzone and you're playing a battle royale, for the love of fuck, don't turn this on. Okay? Leave it off. Please, for the fuck's sakes, just leave it off. Don't fucking play with this. Screen space reflections off. Static reflection quality, this you always put at low. Weather grid volumes, you're going to turn this to off, because why for the love of fuck would you want to see the weather inside this game? I would just love to know that. Like, really, I would love to know why you would want to see the weather effects in this game. Why? Anyways, fuck it. Nvidia reflex low latency on plus boost is the best right now at this very moment, but I have checked it out myself. I put this on and I do the exact same frames. But if I put this off, I lose FPS. So you can choose which one works best for you here, depending on your machine that you're running, okay? So it has to do with your GPU and your CPU, how fast they keep up with one another. So I highly recommend that you go ahead and play around with it and see which one works best for you. Mine's on plus boost, and there's no physical difference between on or on plus boost. Just there's a big difference if you turn this off. Don't turn it off, you will lose FPS in your game. Depth of field, completely off. World motion blur, completely off. Weapon motion blur, the only reason why people are saying that you should turn this on to help with stuttering is if you turn this on, then you need to go to your display tab over here and then go ahead and cap your FPS for the menu to like 30 FPS. While you're in the loading screen or something like that, you cap it to 60, and then you cap your game to the refresh rate of your monitor, let's say 120, 240, then you put this on. If your shit is all on unlimited FPS, then turn it off. It's not going to help you. It won't help. Trust me, I've tried this many times. I had to jump in and out of this game constantly to find out the best settings for you guys. So for the love of fuck, leave a like. Honestly, it takes a lot of time and dedication making these fucking videos. It really does. Honestly, it fucking really does. Film grain all the way to 0.00, and you're going to apply these settings. Once you're done with applying these settings, you're going to have to do this. You're going to need to click on this over here. In the display tab, you're going to come to Restart Shader Optimization. Now, you're going to click on this like this and say restart, okay? Before you restart your game and you go out of the game completely, before you do that, okay, you're going to come to interface, you're going to go to color customization, put this on filter 2, both, 100%, and then you have this at custom. I have my enemies right now at pink. For some reason, it stands out a fuck ton, but you can go ahead and choose any color you want here. Just make sure that the saturation's all the way up, the brightness is all the way up, and then apply custom color once you chose the color that you want. Okay, so once you're done with that, ladies and gentlemen, if this worked for you, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and as always, peace out.